Welcome to the Stizzy Chronicles. I'm Stizzy. On this channel, I chronicle my life as a full-time RVer. Now today, I have a DIY project for you. I am going to be replacing my water pump. In addition to replacing my water pump, I'm going to also try to upgrade the area as well.
Working on me. Working on getting better. Working on me. Working on getting better.
If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and join me on this journey. Before we get started, let me tell you how I turned this into a simple repair to something much bigger. It started off when I realized that my water pump was completely shot. And that was when I was sanitizing my freshwater tank right before I was going to start my off-grid journey. Now mind you, I've been in this RV for like 2+ years, and this is the first time I sanitized the water tank. Don't judge. It's sanitized now. But I can't use the dang on thing because the water pump was shot. Now, I purchased a water pump when I first got the RV. When I first got the RV, I just thought it was so loud, it had to be broken. Come to find out, that's just how they are. But the pump that I had, I never used, so I just kept it around. So I figured, it doesn't hurt to always have a water pump. One thing with this water pump is I purchased it from an auction site. For those of you who've been with the channel for a while, when I was back in Nevada, when I was close to Vegas, there was an auction site that I always went to. Still love that site. Now that I'm close to Nevada, I'm going back to the water. I'm going back to the auction site. I've been purchasing a little too much, but the RV's going to be pretty cool in a little bit. Anywho, I have this water pump that I never confirmed worked. So that's the first thing that we're going to have to get through, that potential hurdle. But while I was preparing to change the water pump, and this is what it looks like, I went down the rabbit hole on good old-fashioned YouTube. So then I started thinking about other things. The first thing that came to mind was when you have to change your water pump, you have to completely drain your freshwater tank. I don't like that. What if I just filled up the freshwater tank, paid the money to do it, and then I got to drain it in order to change the freshwater pump? So I said, how can we change that scenario? One way to change that scenario is adding these ball valves. Or I think that's what they're called. But this is going to allow me to stop the flow of water. And I want to do it on two sides. I want to do it like right after the freshwater tank and then right before the hoses and whatnot starts going to the rest of the RV. So I have two of those. Then I started watching videos about how to quiet your water pump. Someone mentioned in one of my videos a long time ago that you can make boxes to kind of soundproof it. But when I was starting my search, it was more or less suggestions of changing from PEX piping to flexible tubing. So we're going to try that. And I kind of like the idea of the flexible tubing just because it would be harder. It would be easier to kind of manipulate the hoses. At least that's what I'm hoping. So we have that. In addition, while I'm down a rabbit hole, I think I start running into videos about the flow of water, and if you are plugged up to city water and the city water pressure is too high, it can back into the, the water pump and damage the water pump. I was like, well, we don't want that to happen. Even though I do have a meter, I just have never actually put it on the RV to, get the pressure at a safe zone. I just pump the RV up. Okay, it's probably why the dang on thing broke down, the water pump, because I've been plugged up to I've been plugged up to city water and accidentally powered the water pump on. That's apparently a big no-no. So once again, might be the reason it's broken now. So anyway, I got these things. So these are called backflow preventers. They go by other names as well. I got these. What else did I get? Oh, back to flexible tubing. So I'm like, well, if we're going to go to flexible tubing inside the RV, get rid of the PEX, there's also PEX where the city water comes into the freshwater tank. That's PEX. So I said, well, let me replace that as well. So then I got one of these, which is just something that you would use maybe on your sink. This is where the water comes in and then it hooks up to like the faucet. So I said, let me try one of these. Mind you, a lot of this is just me thinking, okay? I don't necessarily have any backup saying it's a good idea, but we're going to try it anyway. So I have this. What else? Had I not been sanitizing the freshwater tank and having to come back and forth to check to see what the water levels were, to make sure that it was enough water when I was putting in the bleach and whatnot, that's when I realized that I was leaking water from that's when I realized the freshwater tank was leaking. But had that not happened, I would have never known. In fact, I don't know how long it's been leaking. So I then also got a leak detector. So we have that as well. And then we also just have like other accessories to make this visual that I have come true. What started off as a project that technically was already paid for because I had already had a water pump. Then charged into an additional $100. I don't know what happened, but that happened. And I guess it's considered an upgrade, or at least that's what I'm telling myself. So I guess it was $100 spent. Well spent. That's what I'm looking for. Let's see about that. I don't even know if this stuff works. And I also kind of been taking forever on doing this actual repair. So if any of these items don't fit or it doesn't work for the project, it's too late to return them. So they're going to have to find some use in this RV if they don't wind up underneath this bed. So that's that. That's what we're going to be doing today. Now we're going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go ahead and lift this bed up because my freshwater tank as well as the water pump is right underneath the bed. And by the way, lifting up this bed and then keeping it up in order to work underneath here has not been easy. I know there are ways to make it easier. We just haven't figured that out yet. So that may also be on the to-do list for some type of those things, you know, ones that hold up and maybe put them underneath something. We got to figure something out. But either way, we're going to get started. It's starting to get hot in here. So I'm about to put on the AC, this 12-volt AC that I have. If you haven't watched the video of me installing that, go ahead and check the playlist, Goodies, Gadgets, and Gears. This thing has been fantastic. I am going to turn that on and then get working. Let's go. Oh, dang. I forgot I've been storing stuff under here, so now I gotta move all that as well. Okay. Okay. Right. Stay. There we go. So this is what it looked like. This is the freshwater tank. This is just like a pressure or exhaust. Like if it this let I don't know. Skip that. Okay. Anyway, so this is the tube that has water coming in from the freshwater fill. This is the water or the hose that I was talking about that allows city water to come in. There is our water pump down there. Okay, and then we're just gonna try to make some changes to how this whole thing looks. Our original setup, in fact, did not stay, so now I had to be creative. We got a box there as well as the lid. Maybe for a future project, I can install some type of hinge here to lock this in place if I need to work underneath the bed. I have some dirty clothes in the corners here because as I was laying out the supplies I kept dropping stuff, so hopefully that'll stop that. Right now I'm trying to remember my vision, my original vision. You know, some people when they are creating a plan they like do diagrams and things like that so they can reference later. I can see how that could be beneficial because right now I bought the stuff but I don't remember what I was planning to do with the stuff and how I was going to set it up. So I'm trying to remember that right now. But at least I think we have a solution for keeping the bed up. Just to get things started, I'm going to just go ahead and at least drain what is left in the water tank. Down here is where my drain is, which is annoying because I believe open is going to put me towards this blue tube, which always causes a problem because I can't really get it open all the way. And then also I'm realizing one reason my thing may have been making so much noise, it's not even drilled down. Like, The water pump itself is not drilled down. So that explains some things. It also looks like they already have a ball valve of sorts on here. So I guess if I wasn't replacing everything and I just needed to replace the water pump, looks like there is a spot here where I could close the valve. It's not really moving right now, so I can't confirm, but I think that's why that's there. But I'm gonna go ahead and get it drained and then start disconnecting things, but being mindful of how the water pump is set up. So with the water pump, there's going to be 2 wires I'm going to have to connect. There's a black wire and a red wire. And I've spotted the same wires on the old one. Okay, let me find out. Okay, so here we go. So those wires come back here. It looks like the black wire that's coming from the water pump is being connected to a white wire here. And then the red wire is connected to another red wire with a little bit of black. So that'll come in handy later. But I'm not going to worry about that just yet. I just want to go ahead and try to get it drained. And then start loosening up as much as I can without disconnecting the electric. Okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. The water tank itself can move. And then maybe I can open it all the way. There we go. Ow. Well, I guess it's not that much water in it after all. I can hear the water, but it ain't draining. We'll let that run for a little bit, just in case something is happening. And I should probably get a towel, but seeing as how it was already flooded in here, I'm like, does it matter? I guess I'll still get a towel. I thought that the water tank would be held down somehow, but I'm seeing that it is not. Let me move these dirty clothes. Because I can just lift this up to get the rest of the water to drain. Or I can find something to prop it up and do the same thing. Back to the dirty clothes. Get back here. Get on in there. Alright. Hopefully, we'll have less of a mess because I did that. Or nothing will have changed, one or the other. I feel like that's all the water that's going to get drained. Guess I'll close this. And I'm going to see what I can disconnect. I see there's a spot here. Go ahead and disconnect this pipe from the water pump. At least I think I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'm not. Hold on. I feel like using tools on plastic is not a good idea. Let's see if we can start somewhere else. So where the water tank starts entering in these PEX pipes, there's a twisty connection. Alright, that's one place disconnected. And I'd like to disconnect right here. Then I believe I'll be able to pull this unit out. Oh, my boy. Okay, so that's where we want to put the towel. Got it. Alright. Let's see. Soak that up. Soak that out. Okay. Oh, it's leaking everywhere. You know what? This is water. Okay, let's hope for the best. We got it. See what we can pull out. Cable's in the way. It's awkward. The wires I'm touching right here, these are just for the sensor that lets me know how much water is in the water tank. And accurately, I might add, but that appears to be what these are for. So we got the water pump still connected to all the electrical. And this is all, they're just sitting on this little board here. Nothing's attached. That explains all the noise, that's for sure. And luckily, there's not too much water that spilled that was left behind. Okay. Now that we have this taken apart, I can start my visual. One thing that I do want to change about the project, I don't like this. This supply hose, which was going to replace this blue PEX, because it is so thin in the center, I feel like that could be some type of concern. I'd rather get a longer one like this instead of using this metal supply hose. So I don't think I'm going to use this, but I am going to continue on with the project. Oh, another thing I did, because when I was looking at water pumps, I noticed that some of them are sold with a filter of some sort. That was another purchase I got. I purchased a filter. We'll see if that helps out. Now I got to get back to trying to figure out what my original plan was. We still trying to figure that out. To figure out where pieces are going to go, I'm going to take a look at the new to me water pump. Okay, great. So there is a little arrow there, a little indicator letting me know that water is to travel in that direction. So since I don't want water going back in this way, that's where I'm going to put my first stop valve. Now, one thing I noticed is on some of these connections down here, instead of plumber's tape being used, they use some type of plumber's putty. I don't have that, so we will be using the tape. And I'm going to just clean off some of the surfaces. This is one of our water flow valves. And on the water flow valve, it also has an arrow to let you know what direction the water should travel. So we are going to match that up on this thing. Okay. Now I'm going to just connect that like that, but I'm going to go ahead and put the tape on first. When it comes to the tape, I always got to do a test run. See which way this is going. All right, so that direction, that's the way my tape needs to go, so we don't have any problems later. I usually don't know the official amount of turns. I think this may be too much, but I guess you can never be too cautious. Get you on there. Yes, yes, yes. Now what this stops is down here, we have our city water that comes in, and we don't want it going back in this direction where it then can enter the water pump. So that's going to stop that. So we got one thing down. And then the filter itself can only go on one side. So I can put that on. And that's how I'm going to figure out where everything's supposed to go. We're just going to do a little bit of that at a time. On it says hand tighten only. That is what I am doing. These are plastic parts, so I don't want to over tighten. Hopefully that's enough. If not, good thing we have the leak alert. Now let's see space-wise. Okay, space-wise we seem to be okay. That's good. Then at some point, I'm going to add this. I don't know if it's going to go right here because I may not have the room for it. But we're going to figure out where that's going to go next. We are running into a bit of a situation, and I don't quite know why. Also, I did turn off the AC unit. I have the windows open. It's cool enough where we can just go with the wind. And then also, I had used the AC unit, I want to say yesterday, and did not charge the battery. So the battery's kind of low. But anywho. This is one of the pieces that I purchased. Is one of the pieces that I need to use. I want to attach this to the actual water tank to give me that angle going up. The plan was to then have that attached to one of the flexible holes. For some strange reason, these two connections do not like each other. I have tried multiple times. I even tried by putting tape on one end, and it's almost like the threads just don't line up. I don't quite understand. Because I tested it just to see, like, okay, is one the problem and one isn't? And I haven't quite figured it out. But one thing that I can say with this here is just maybe that space in the center is causing issues. I don't know. But this is what I did. So this doesn't hook up, right? We're not, no matter what I try, it just will not line up. There's a leak waiting to happen. So to test it with this flexible wire came with a little adapter, male to male adapter, right? That goes in no problem. In fact, it's already on this side. Okay, so that goes in no problem. I don't have it all the way in, but I can tell that it's going in. It's a tight fit. So there's no issue there. So then I take this angled piece here and see if it'll fit into the stop valve, ball valve. It does, no problem. Since this does work, I would like to set it up this way where this black piece goes to the freshwater tank and then we have our stop valve. The only problem is because we have that valve down there, which is to release the water from the water tank, I don't have enough room. So I can't do it this way. This isn't an option. So I'm thinking maybe the way to make this work is to get an adapter like this, and I'd have to bring it with me to the store because I really don't, my nails are dirty, ignore that. I really don't know exactly what it is, but I can just go to them and say, hey, I need one similar to this, same size, but a male and female side, so the two can work together. Because as of now, if I can't get a good fit with this, I don't want to move forward. Now, I did also test that other hose that I have, that supply line hose. That does work. This supply line hose, it looks like I can get them connected. And in fact, I would say I can. It's not much, but it seems to be a better fit than this connection. The only problem is, now that I see this, I just have a gut feeling that using a supply line hose may interfere with the water pressure. I don't know if that is indeed true. It's just, it seems like this is a small hose, and in this one, the water is going to be traveling much easier. And ideally, I'd like to keep them the same. So I'm kind of in a bit of a spot here where I can't move forward until I figure out how to get these two connected securely. And I think my best bet is just finding an adapter. I'm in a really small town. To get to where civilization is, it's a good probably 30-40 minutes. So I got to drive 30-40 minutes to the store, the closest store, and hope that they have what I'm looking for. Once again, I'm in a small town. A lot of the small town stores don't have everything, which is why most of the stuff, in fact, all the stuff that I have here, excluding the water pump that I purchased, I got online. It was just easier that way. So here we are, me and Waka preparing to head to the store. The store that I was referencing, the one that's 30 minutes away, I was able to give them a call and check to see if they have what I'm looking for. They do not. But I did learn that this is called the nipple. They have nipples, and he was suggesting that I purchase another item that would allow me to have one end be female. But then he also mentioned something about gluing. Oh, I know what he said. He said there's a schedule 80 and the schedule 40. This is schedule 80, I believe. Yeah, schedule 80 is the gray. And then there's a white, which is called schedule 40. Gray is thicker and stronger. He said they have something that's schedule 80, but it will require like cutting and gluing. And then there's an option for schedule 40 where I wouldn't have to cut or glue anything. But he also said that the connection isn't as great. Okay, I'm going to have to see what he's talking about for it to really make sense to me. I then remember that there's another home improvement store that's much closer. It's about 10 minutes from where I am. It's smaller, so their inventory is, so we're going to check that out first, see if they're able to help. If not, I have everything here. So I have the pieces that I need. Either I'll find an easy adapter, or maybe I'll find maybe flexible hose that's a little different, or one of these pieces that I already have, maybe they have it at the store and then the build is better or just more compatible, and then I can just switch it out. Worst case scenario, I'm gonna go to the home improvement store that's 10 minutes away. They don't have it. I'm gonna go to the home improvement store that's in the opposite direction. Okay, so I'm gonna have to do the 10 minutes coming back to where I am practically, and then the 30 to 40 minutes in the direction that it is. If they don't have it, then back to the house, postpone the repair, look for it online, have it sent to me, and then continue on with the project. Being off grid and in rural areas where you can live comfortably in your RV is fantastic because you're out with nature, but not fantastic because you lose the convenience. You know, the major city is about an hour away. The downtown area of the city I'm in, 30 to 40 minutes away. It's a lot of driving back and forth sometimes, and then also a lot of relying on online purchasing to get what you need. But we are going to stay optimistic and get on the road. So good news. The store that's 10 minutes away actually has a part that may work. In fact, it sounds like it may be the part that they were describing to me over the phone. And this is when I was talking to the store that's 30, 40 minutes away. So this is a piece that I'm now going to add in the mix. This piece is still going to attach to the freshwater tank. This is going to go on top. So this is schedule 40. And I feel like this is what the gentleman was explaining to me. This is going to go on top. And I'm happy with that feel. This gray nipple is going to then go between the two. My biggest concern about all this is how thick this white piece is that I just purchased, just because I don't have a lot of space since I have that big old pipe that is there with that ball valve that allows me to drain the freshwater tank. Hopefully this doesn't cause any issues with the thickness. So we're going to go ahead, head back to the house and see how all this fits. And before I came here, just to make sure I wasn't playing myself, I did try to get this onto the freshwater tank. It seems like it's going to go on without any issues. I didn't put it all the way on and tighten it all the way, but it seemed like it was going to work for me. So this is what we're working with now. Let's go home. Now I am back at the house and I started working on a dry fit to see if the plan that I had discussed in the car is actually going to work. And unfortunately, it is not. That piece that I just purchased is a little too big. It fits in the space, but that drain pipe is the problem. The drain pipe and then that valve that's connected to the drain pipe is the problem. We can still make it work though. I'm just going to have to rearrange the parts. While in the car, I discussed setting it up like this and then putting the hose here. But when we try to do that, we don't have room to open and close that valve. So instead, I'm going to try something else. This is my valve. And if I put this in place, believe it or not, I still have enough room to use both of the valves. And then if I then take the angled piece, I can connect it to this gray adapter. Then we still have our large piece that we just purchased. And then the hose can now hook up to that. Let's see how that works. I keep running into little things that make me have to pivot the way that I planned didn't work, didn't fit. So now I got a new plan that I think is going to work. I think it's going to fit. So let's keep wrapping up these threads and see if we can get this done. First thing I did was tape down some of these wires just so they were out of my way. I also now have this, which was not screwed down at all, taped down with two-sided tape. Down at the bottom there, that's the old one. That's since it's still hooked up to electronics. This is the new one, and then possibly what I'm gonna have it sitting in to help with the sounds and the vibrations. In order to get this to work, we have the one white piece that I just purchased. Next to that, we have one of the gray nipples. Then we have that 90-degree angle fitting that's giving me a hard time. Then I have the stop valve. Then we have another fitting, and we can put a hose on it. And that hose will come to the actual pump. Now, the problem that we're running into next is because this is broken, and I don't really want to use it, right now the issue that I'm going to have is getting the other side of the pump to reach this here. This is the pipes that I wanted to change, which I still want to do because these hard pipes just make things hard. Like it just, see, everything just doesn't move. This is pressed up against the wood, so that's going to cause vibrations when the pump is going. So I will change this out once I figure out what type of pipe I'm going to use here. At that point, it won't be an issue because I'll just use one of these in order to connect the area here to the other side of the pump. With this current plan, I am going to need to purchase some additional material or do some more research on a good pipe I can use to bring in the city water without it causing any issues to pressure and water flow. I have the other pieces that I'll need. That's the only thing that I'm really worried about. So this project won't be completed today, but I can get a little bit further. So I'm going to go ahead and attach a few more pieces just to make sure everything goes as I'm picturing it before I get too invested in trying to find a different pipe for when the city water comes in. New day for me, same day for you. This replacement of my water pump is not going as expected at all. Remember when I was wondering, is it the 90-degree angle that's the problem, or is it the hosing that's the problem when the two of them would not connect? I'm starting to think it's the hose. When I purchased the hose, it's sold as an RV pump silencer. That's what it's sold as. And it's intended to attach to the plumbing in the RV directly to the water pump. I guess maybe there's special threading for these connections or something. I can't quite figure out what's going on. And the reason I'm saying that is because the orange nipple is what's currently exposed in my little setup right now. And I'm trying to attach the hose to it so I can attach the other side of that hose to the actual pump. But when I try to tighten it, we have problems. So I think I did a semi-test of the two connections where I just screwed it in and I was like, okay, it's going in, it's fine, but I didn't try to tighten it. So now that I'm trying to tighten it, what happens is I can feel it twisting in. And then when it's time when you're like, oh, I'm starting to feel some tension, let me get it tight so it's nice and secure and I don't have to worry about leaks. That's when it's almost like the threads fall off the track and then it's loose, and if water was going through it, it would leak. So that's where we are. And I'm confused because when I was going online looking for products, I was just looking for things that were threaded and half-inched. I didn't know there was a possibility that the threading could be different. I still don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. If anybody has an idea of what's happening, let me know. Needless to say, I cannot continue the repair. So right now I'm debating on if I'm going to return the product, the hoses, the silencer, and maybe try to see if there's a such thing as a standard drinking water hose that's maybe 2 feet that has the same threads as all the other components that I have in that little setup. Right now, these flies are whooping my tail. That's one thing about this area that stresses me out. Just being outside, I suppose, is that the flies, they always manage to get into the house. Okay, so that's why I'm moving so much. But anywho, back to the project. So either way, I'm considering returning the silencer, the flexible hoses. Problem is, as I mentioned, since I'm out in the boonies, if I want to return something, this is an Amazon return, it's either pay $8 to have Amazon come and pick it up or to drive to a UPS drop off. The closest UPS drop off is an hour away. So I'm trying to think, do I need to go to the nearest major city to go shopping or do some things? And at the moment, I can't think of anything. But at the same time, I believe that item was $22. So it's like I want at least some of my money back if I'm not going to use it. And then I'm thinking like, will I have use for it later? Maybe I should hold on to it. I don't know. I just know I can't finish the repair. So we're still stuck with, brushing our teeth, washing dishes and everything using 1 gallon bottles of water. And making things work with our little foldable collapsible sinks and whatnot. But I don't want to end this on a bad note. So I want to at least get a project done that I'm successful with. So we're going to try to do that. As I mentioned, these flies are getting on my dang on nerves. They always get into the RV. I don't know. There's little holes and crevices all over the place between the windows and the front door. The front door definitely needs to be resealed because I think all type of critters could get in there. Because if the door is closed, I can still see light coming through in certain areas. So I got to figure out some way to seal that. But as far as the flies, I went to my little auction site, as I do, to get me a little deal. And I got a net, like the magnetic netted fly and mosquito screens. The thing is, I had to work with what was available. So what I purchased is much larger than the door of the RV. However, I believe I did a little test run. If I cut it in half, it'll be perfect because it actually has, I want to say, 2 areas where it has the opening where the magnetic opening is. So I'm thinking cutting it in half. Well, before I cut it in half, just so it's not all gross and frilly, tape it up, cut that area that I tape, put up 1/2, and then have some protection against these flies. And that way I can at least have a project successfully completed. So we're going to finish off with that, and we're going to come back to this water pump. As you can see, the RV's a little crazy because, as I mentioned, I've been buying a lot of stuff, unfortunately, at the auction site and plans of getting the RV upgraded. So it looks crazy in here. It looks crazier if I had that curtain open. Now, for many of you who've been with the channel before, y'all have seen that curtain open. It's now worse. I don't know why I didn't close the curtain ages ago. But we're going to take advantage of that. Anywho, this is the screen that I was referring to. As you can see, it is super large. And then we have 2 places where that magnetic closure is set. One here, one here. My plan was essentially is almost like it won't be exactly folding it in half because the screen is still, I think, smaller than what this is half. So we're going to make some type of adjustments and then we'll be able to go ahead and get that up in the door. But that's what we're going to try to do just so we have one win. I'm learning that when it comes to these projects, if things aren't going the way that you expect them to go, get a win out of it. And I picked this up when I was staying in Mississippi. The guy that I was staying with, we started a project, or we were planning to do a project. And in my head, I wanted to do the whole big scope of it. But he was like, no, let's just start small so we can at least have a win. I like that. So that's what I'm trying to do here. So we got our screen. With the screen, there's like Velcro, self-adhesive Velcro. Then also I purchased some tape. I didn't realize when I got it from the auction shop that it's actually 2. I thought it was just one super thick one. But we have some duct tape. So let's see if we can at least get this done. Here is my entryway. And I actually have a critter on it right now. I don't know if you can see that, but I get a lot of critters that come in through the entrance, and you can't necessarily see it with the screen, but if I close the main door is what really needs to be sealed. Now, when I put it up and I hear it, I'm gonna mainly focus on this area here because this actually goes all the way down. At first, I was looking at this thicker spot, but that doesn't go all the way down. So this is where you put the adhesive. And we're just going to try to figure this out. First things first, we got to get our measurements. So width-wise, it's 24 inches. That's that little frame that goes all the way down. And I did install a handlebar. And there's also this opening, so I gotta take that in consideration. I'm assuming I'll need some space for that. But the vision is make sure we got a space that has a magnetic closing. And then boom. But it's too much going on. But with my plan, it looks like this is not going to be straight down the middle. That is okay. That does not bother me, seeing as how the handle is here. It being on this side will be perfect. We're just going to go ahead, measure out 24 inches. Debating on how much extra space I should. We're going to do a little more than 24 inches because I got to take this into consideration. And I'll put tape all the way down on both sides, then cut it, and then I'll probably then tape that edge just to make sure it doesn't unravel. And then we have our adhesives to get it up. Oh, let's hope this at least goes the way I planned it. One thing that I almost messed up on was cutting the wrong side. This is where the Velcro is, so I gotta make sure that works with how it's gonna be set up. Since this measures 24, I'm gonna do 26 inches. I feel like that'll give me space to get this accommodated for. We're gonna use our red tape again as our marker, just so I know how and where to set up the tape. And you probably think, well, you could have just bought one that's custom fit, or one that actually fits your RV. I could have, and I could have paid full price if I had done it that way. So, no. This probably cost me $2. And $2 for the tape. Oh, it's something down here at the bottom. It's like magnets. But luckily, it's something heavy. Okay. I think I can move it. Okay, cool. Luckily, what's down here at the bottom, I can move in order to make it work for my cut. So that's good. Get my 26-inch down here at the bottom. Cool. I'm looking forward to cutting this because it's way too much to work with. You see, I ain't got enough space in this RV. All right. Step one completed. Let's move on to the next one, which is taping her down. Got it cut down, taped a few times, and baby, hopefully this stays. Because I'm not too certain about where the mesh is. This I feel like it's gonna stay just fine. But yo, it's so hot out that me and the tape are both melting. So we're gonna go back inside and hope for the best. We got the sides all taped up, and with this tape, there are different thicknesses. So this is for the sides all taped up, and then we're gonna get the top. If I was to tape it at the top of my door, it's gonna leave a lot at the bottom. Don't want that. So I'm gonna go up above, which means I will have to apply some of this to the wall itself. Hey, whatever. When it's time for it to come down, just heat it up and use some Goo Gone to get the residue away. You'll never know the difference. There we go. We have our win for the day. It is officially up. It's done but not done, technically speaking, because with the mesh screen, there is Velcro on 2 of the 3 sides. The third side is just the tape that I put up. But I believe I have some adhesive Velcro in the RV somewhere where I could potentially add it to the mesh. However, in the meantime, I have the top actually adhered with Velcro. This side is actually adhered with Velcro, and on the other side is taped. Now remember that my measurements were a little extra. It worked out perfectly, and the tape itself is going on that outer black trim, so it's keeping everything together. Now excuse me, I'm out of breath because I'm hot. I know that probably don't make sense, but something about the heat be doing something to my breathing. Oh, maybe it's a high elevation. Who knows, baby? I don't know. But we at least have a win for the day. So I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me as I attempted to get some work done. As you can see from the RV, these are all projects to be. So there's a lot more DIY projects coming up. Right now, I'm gonna get some water because I'm thirsty. My mouth is dry. My lips probably white. Probably gonna get naked. I should have charged the battery because then I could have run the AC unit. Actually, I do have a second battery which may be charged, so I can run the AC unit. Whoop-de-doo. Cool off, and I will see y'all next time.